Hello, yeah, I thought I'd do a video. I haven't been able to do one for a while. I've been really busy. I'm in between jobs at the moment, and yeah, one job has come to an end, and I finished last Friday, and I've managed to secure another job. So, but my focus has been really looking for alternative employment, which I've managed to do. So yeah, it's been a busy time. Fortunately, I've got lots of music to listen to, and which is really been it's really what I do. I really love listening to lots of records and CDs and so forth. And yeah, I thought I'd actually specifically do this particular video focusing on John Coltrane. It's just realised, really, having recently bought this album, and realised that I do have quite a bit of John Coltrane. I'm not an expert on John Coltrane, but I'm really interested in learning more about his sort of career and his music and so forth. And I've managed just over the years to acquire lots of sort of Coltrane albums, and very recently I just couldn't turn this down when I came across it for £14.99. I found this for sale in HMV. Original price was £34.99, and when it was released, this is John Coltrane, Both Directions at Once, the Lost album. And when it was originally released, wow, there was no way I was going to spend that type of money on an album. I've always tried to set a ceiling for the amount I'm willing to spend. I really don't like paying too much for records, and when I saw this at £14.99, I just thought I couldn't turn it down. So I'm delighted, because I thought I'd never be able to own this album on vinyl, at least. So yeah, great. I have not played it yet. It's still sealed, so there's a reason behind that. I thought I'd wait for the right moment, and set aside some sort of quality time just to listen to it and take it all in, and try and understand it. But I thought, John Coltrane, just such an immense artist. At the age of 19, he was a professional musician, and in Philadelphia, and it was, I think, the age of 29, he became part of the Miles Davis band, and from there it was like the springboard to so much innovation and creation of fantastic recordings and compositions, right up until, so that was really from 1955 then to 1967. But yeah, I just thought I'd show some albums really that I've got of his. Let's have a little look at some quite interesting things to show. I've got two versions of this album. There we are. This is Africa Brass. This was released 1961. It was the first record called John Coltrane released on the Impulse label. It has 3 tracks, 2 of which are composed by Coltrane. I also have the same album with a completely different album cover. The album cover features a photograph there of Alice Coltrane, which is John Coltrane's wife. Exactly the same album, 2 completely different album covers. Don't see many of these, of this album in this cover. But there you go, just thought that was, just thought I'd show that. Just going to show, similarly, I got Giant Steps with 2 different covers. There we are, and I got it on there as well. Giant Steps, which was the 5th studio album, released 1960 on Atlantic Records. And yeah, I mean, this features some fantastic sort of compositions. There's the other cover I've got. Of course, you've got Giant Steps, which is like a swing type jazz, very sort of fast paced. And we've got another track on here. One of my favourites is a ballad called Neymar, which was named after John Coltrane's wife at the time. I think it was her middle name. But there you go. Just thought I'd show that one as well. Sunship 1971. This was released on Impulse Records. This one didn't feature Rudy Van Gelder, so I'm not sure where this was actually recorded. Oh, it was actually in New York City, RCA Victor Studios. There you go. It was recorded on the 26th of August 1965. Yep, there's that one. So we've got. Oh, I got this album. It's called Dakar. But it was released by Prestige, originally recorded in 1957. But Coltrane, with his sort of increased sort of popularity during the 60s, Prestige put this out in 1963. It was a Pepper Adams recording, quite a lot of. I mean, at the time, I think Coltrane was working as a sideman on this particular recording when it was done in the late 50s. Yeah, so my plan is I'm going to listen to all these again over the next week or so. What have we got here? Oh, this is one of my favourites. This is Crescent. This was 1964 on Impulse, featuring the famous sort of quartet of Garrison, McCoy Tyner, Garrison on bass, McCoy Tyner piano, and Elvin Jones, of course, on drums, on the Impulse label. Yeah. We've got, what have we got? Oh, yeah, this is quite a famous record cover. This is My Favourite Things. It's the 7th studio album on the Atlantic label, and this was from 1961. Yeah, it's features some Rodgers and Hammerstein compositions, My Favourite Things, Cole Porter composition, and a George Gershwin Summertime, and I think But Not For Me, yeah. But yeah, fantastic. So I don't have that much Coltrane, but you know, I've got what I like, and I need to get some more. But there you go. We got this one. I bought this. This is a Blue Train, 1958 on the Blue Note label, recorded in the RVG studio. This one is this was the mono and stereo collector's series 2 LP set. So this particular version, I've got one playing the studio and the other sort of stereo mix, and the other one playing the mono mix. So yeah, but it features 5 tracks, four compositions by John Coltrane, and we got some really outstanding musicians on here. Lee Morgan on trumpet, for instance. We've got Kenny Drew on piano, Paul Chambers on bass, Philly Joe Jones on drums, and Curtis Fuller on the trombone. Fantastic. Ah, there we go. Well, you know, I mean, a love supreme. A love supreme. A love supreme. Well, 1965, isn't this an absolutely fantastic album? I've spent hours listening to this on and off since I bought it years ago. 1965 recording in the RVG Studios, released on Impulse, and yeah, I just love the way the whole sort of album starts with I think that was the first album is first track is Acknowledgement, and you got Jimmy Garrison's bass riff on that particular first track, sort of opening up the album, sort of setting the scene really, and it's one of those albums like from beginning to end. Every time I listen to it, it sort of like reveals something slightly different each time. So interesting, so innovative, creative, and just very, very listenable album. There you go, A Love Supreme by John Coltrane. Live album, albeit only the first three tracks were recorded live. This is Coltrane live at Birdland. Yeah, the first three tracks were recorded live at the Birdland Club. The remainder were recorded at the Van Gelder Studios. It's released on Impulse, and I think this was recorded in 1963 but released in 1964. Fantastic. I got this one as well. This is, do you know, I need to actually give this a really good listen again. John Coltrane and Lee Morgan, 1, 2, 4 on the Vogue label. Yeah, interesting. It was released in 1979, so I need to actually give that a really good listen. I got some CDs. One's just playing now, which is very sort of free jazz. It's the Ascension album, recorded 1965, released 1966. Yeah, it's quite a sort of a move by Coltrane into like a less structured style then, a much more freer type jazz. Very, very interesting, very sort of full on to listen to. I've really enjoyed listening to it as well, so yeah, I think it was on the Impulse label, yes, and it's just 2 tracks on the album called Ascension. There you go. This one I really like too. This is Olé on the Atlantic label. It's the 9th album by Coltrane, recorded in the A&R Studios in New York City in 1961. So yeah, well, released in 1961, I think. But yeah, you can very sort of Spanish influence, sort of style to some of the compositions. You definitely hear that coming through. But I think Miles Davis released an album before this called Sketches of Spain. But there you go. It's really interesting. There's one I bought recently. I've not heard yet. It's actually sealed. It's still in the seal. This is John Coltrane live at the Village Vanguard. Like I said, not opened or listened to it yet. 3 tracks. One called Spiritual, 2 Softly, as in a morning sunrise, and the 3rd track is Chasing the train. So anyway, yeah, just thought I'd just sort of show some John Coltrane. So I'm going to try and listen to them, to all those before finishing off and opening this up and listening to this. So anyway, yeah, nice to tune in again. Thanks for those that watch the videos, and yeah, no doubt I'll come back again soon and do another video. But for now, bye bye. Thanks again.